Hi, welcome to the gojenn videocast, the Yarny Stuff portion of the program. After looking at the number of views that we've gotten over the past weeks or whatever, when I separate the two parts of the show, the planner part and the yarny part, I'm not getting the viewership for the yarny part that I am for the planny part, but I'm definitely going to continue the yarny part because having you there holds me accountable. Because I really caught myself this week going, you don't have to. There's nobody's going to come get you if you don't work on your projects. Yeah, but I told them I would show them my progress. So you're holding me accountable, and I like that. And if you want me to hold you accountable to something, let me know. Put it in the comments below. We can take photos, and I'll show your progress too. But this week we're going to do something a little differently. I'm going to do a review of one of the books that was sent to me by Interweave Press. This is Classic Crochet Blankets. It was sent to me by Interweave for review, and so I'm going to go through that in just a few minutes. But first I want to show you my progress. because I'm sure all of you at home have a little notebook that you keep. Jennifer did 4 rows this week. B-. Is that what you do? No, I don't. I don't do that stuff, but it would be okay if you wanted to. I do have progress, and I'm proud of my progress. I'm pleased with my progress, and I don't want it to fall off my needle's progress. This is the Trillion. The pattern is a pay-for pattern by Martina Behm, B-E-H-M. It is going to be a crescent-shaped shawl. The yarn is by Marigold Jen. I'm not sure the colorway. I want to say it's peacock or something like that. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's in one of my peacock bags. Or it's in my peacock bag. So, let's see. Okay. This is my knit side stitch marker. And so what I have done since last week, this was the beginning. So this was all that I had done up until last week. Yay me. And this, which it's horizontal rows, they're going this way and back and forth in garter. I've done this much in the past week, and it is an easy pattern with only 8 pearls for every 2 rows, because Ming Mao told me I could do this, and I said I didn't want to do if it had a lot of pearls. Sorry, we had a major dog barking episode here, so we had to take a breath, take a breather, calm down. This was my Trillion, and this is the amount of progress I made. Most of it was while watching. I'm always afraid I'm going to pull my work off my needles. That scares me very muchly. But anyway, most of it was done while binge watching The Daredevil on Netflix. I like it, but I don't. But I do, but I don't. I don't know. I finished the first season last night, and I liked it, but I don't. But I do. It's a good show. I can't find anything that I really want to watch on Netflix. So if you folks know my watching habits, don't you? Yeah? So share. If you've got something that you think I would like to watch. I like British detectives. Serious. Not like Miss Marple. Although there's nothing wrong with Agatha Christie. She is, thanks to her, we have cozy mysteries, and you can never have too many cozy mysteries. Okay, this is my Snapdragon. It is Tunisian crochet. The pattern is by Ava Nee. Her last name is Nee, N-I. Her first name is A-I-O-B-H-I. She's Irish, I believe. I'm going to say that, and I think it's correct. But I worked, let's see, here's my progress keeper from last week. So I did a short row, a long row, a short row, and a long row. And I really did this long row twice because it is a 6-stitch row, the way she works it. And I was fine. I had 6 rows up here, but when I was getting ready to finish off down here, I had 4. Crap. Crap doodle. But anyway, I love it. It's going to be beautiful. It's not going to be near as difficult as I thought it was. This is by far an easy project. Because if you can crochet, if you can figure out her Tunisian crochet. Because she does things with 5 upples and 7 upples, and all it means is the number of yarn overs and stitches that you have in each little row bit. And I may do a short video of how she does it. Although if you search on YouTube, you can find it. I did that to learn how to do that for my PAX, P-A-X, and that was a beautiful, excellent shawl. This is now my review of the book Classic Crochet Blankets, and it's by Interweave, put out by Interweave Crochet, and there are, I should have counted, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 18. There are 18 shawls by 18 different authors. You have everything in this book from basic granny squares to lace to crochet cables. A lot of your big name crochet designers right now are represented. This is by Kristen Omdahl. She is one of my favorite crochet designers right now, and this is really the Afghan that I thought out of this book I would like to make. You see, it's got, and wouldn't that make a pretty shawl? Yeah, you just have to, you know, maybe adjust your yarn, adjust the size or the number that you were doing. This by Ellen Gormley is very much like the Babette blanket, which is by Kathy Merrick's. Kathy has a pattern in here too. If you were with me last summer when I made my pineapple top, my sleeveless pineapple top, that was by Doris Chan, and this is by Doris Chan, and it is called Exploded Pineapple Afghan. It's very lacy. In another group I was in years ago on Ravelry, we had a way to measure the holiness of an Afghan, you know, like, because a lot of people don't want a lacy Afghan. So if it was big enough to get your hole, good. If the holes were big enough to get your big toe through, then it was considered a holy Afghan. This would definitely be a holy Afghan. I have had this favorited and in my queue for a very long time. This is Urchins and Limpets by Kathy Merrick. I saw it first in an Interweave Crochet magazine, and I just thought it would be beautiful, but I've never sat down and made it. So that's on me. Okay, one thing I want to say about this book, the instructions are written very clearly. I read through some of the instructions, and I understood exactly what the designer wanted me to do. There are also charts included for all of the motifs, a stitch guide for every stitch that you'll have. I mean, besides probably a single crochet, double crochet. This, I really like this. This is by Marley Bird, and she got her start as a blogger and YouTuber. Well, yeah, YouTuber. She had a podcast. I think she may still, from Colorado. I like this, but I don't like the solid panels. I understand why she has them, because it gives a lot of structure and strength to this, but I would rather have this piece as a shawl. So I looked at the instructions to maybe do that. There are very good instructions on how to put things together. Gorgeous pictures. Of course, these are not my colors. I'm not an earth tone person. I am a jewel tone person. This is the Buttercup Blanket, also by Kristen Amdahl, with a lot of texture, which is really good for babies. Babies like texture. They like to put their fingers in stuff, and the construction of that is very pretty. This is Happy Hexagons by Maurice Roudier. And I mean, that's just a basic hexagon pattern, much like the granny squares, the hexagons. This one is my least favorite, and I don't mean any, I'll tell you why. It's called, the name of it is Baron's Color Block. You see here that it is made up of lots of little squares and then grouped into blocks of different sizes and everything. And that is made into the color block Afghan in a different kind of arrangement. That's just not me. That's not the kind of thing I would do. Maybe it is for you. I'm just saying, for me, that's not me. Excuse me. These are very simple little motifs that are put together to make these color blocks. Excuse me, I'm sorry. This one, Reflected Sunlight Afghan, is another hexagonal one. But its construction is put together. I'm sorry, were you looking at my nose? The construction is different. They're joined just on corners. Another pretty one, this would be, this is not my colors, but I like, this could be done in scraps, you know, much more like a scrappy granny square kind of Afghan. But then you have graphs on how, sorry glare, how to, once you make your blocks, to put them together. This one, I was kind of sad about the pictures. It's another one by Kristen Amdahl, and the title is Shark Hunter by Kristen Amdahl. I think this color, you don't get to see the gorgeousness of what the pattern is doing. For all you can really tell, it's just in, I don't know what it looks like. It looks like it's got some front post crochets or back post crochets to give you this raised effect here. But everything else is lost. It's a Shark Hunter blanket because of the sawtooth border. I would like to see this in something that would make the squares, which are like mitered squares. And again, you have all your charts. I would like to see this in something that would make those mitered squares pop more. Okay? But I mean, that's just me. Okay, this is my review, right? This is my second least favorite. Not because it is a ripple Afghan or a chevron Afghan, but because it's done in single crochet. That's a lot of single crochet. I would not do that. It would be a good project for somebody, I don't know who. I mean, I don't know who would want to do that much of a blanket in single crochet. That needs to be in double crochet. The designer is Kathy Eng for this. It's beautiful. This would be a very solid, if you want a very solid wool blanket kind of thing, there would be no toes poking through any of this, okay? It would be a very solid fabric, very warm. So that's who would want it to do that, is if somebody's looking for a nice, solid blanket, okay? This one is Starfish Blanket by Kristen Amdahl. I didn't realize she had so many patterns in here. She is one of my very favorite designers. And this is a bunch of starfish joined together. So that's really pretty, isn't it? I like the border. Another thing I like about the book is they use regular yarns that people are going to use for Afghans. You know, you can't use a $30 skein of sock yarn to make an Afghan because it's going to take 20 or 30 of those little skeins, and that's probably more than you want to invest in an Afghan. So this uses Lionheart and yarns that are generally available in the big box stores and things like that. This is a really cute blanket. I did not look at it. No, you make motifs. So I suppose you make all your motifs and then join them together, but I don't know. I haven't really read this. So this is Hialeah Honey by Bonnie Barker. This, I believe, is my favorite in the book. Look at that. It's gorgeous. Gorgeous cables. I like a crochet cable. I made a baby blanket with crochet cables, and it is gorgeous. And I would definitely make this pattern. This is more of an heirloom kind of thing that it would take a lot of concentration. You'd want to use a nice yarn and go with it like that. But I would definitely make that one. Here's your granny square. If you're a new crocheter, you need to sit down with some Red Heart or Vanna's Choice, some kind of good acrylic yarn, and I think Vanna's Choice is the best that's out there. And make yourself a stack of beautiful granny squares, and then just join them together. And you have a beautiful project. And if you get going, these granny squares are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times around. If you make a nice big one that's, say, 12 circles around the center, because granny squares are worked in the round. They're worked in the square. I mean, you can have a nice big pillow, or you can. It'll take fewer of those giant squares to make a blanket, but there's nothing like a granny square Afghan to say this is home. Sometimes you might be able to stick a baby toe through there, but you're probably not going to stick grown-up toes. This is the Filet Zigs and Zags Blanket by Mary Lynn Patrick. Oh, I like this too. This is filet crochet, which if you use a fine, this pattern calls for sport weight yarn, but if you used a lace weight or something like that, you could easily make curtains with this same pattern, see, because it would just be finer and lighter weight. Again, you have your graphs. And if you are a new crocheter, I suggest that maybe you learn how to crochet with the written instructions, and then add reading your pattern designs. This is a bobble stitch afghan. It's called Sailboats, and this is it. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful baby blanket. This would be an heirloom thing that that you're going to give a baby, boy or girl. I just think it's gorgeous. It really makes me happy. And there's so many choices for baby afghans that you can make. And sometimes you want to make one that the babies can just play with, drag around the house, you know, that it'll be their lovey blanket. But sometimes you want it to be something they can hold on to forever. And that's another reason for using the acrylic yarns. They're easily washable, that kind of thing. This is the French Country Afghan by Ellen Gormley. That is really pretty. This is another Afghan where you're going to make motifs and then join them together. And that is the last. That's just a diagram of the whole blanket put together. Anytime you have a blanket that's made in motifs like this, it's really easy to pick it up, work on it a while until you get bored with it, set it aside, set your, you know, your big bag of motifs somewhere, and then when you're ready to, you go back to it, you work on it some more, make more motifs, maybe you're ready to join it, you know, whatever. Another thing I love about this book, and I think this may be one of my favorite things, optional edgings. Because once you've put all that energy and time and yarn into your Afghan, you want to end it on a really good note. You want to put an edge on it that matches the pattern. You know, you're not going to make a granny Afghan and then put some very fine lacy pattern around the edge, but you might want scallops. You might want the shark's teeth, you know. So you can always play around with that. There's an entire section at the back of the book about symbol crochet, helping you to read the symbols. There's abbreviations and a glossary showing you how to make everything from a chain stitch on up. I think this book is great. It is, the retail price is US $19.99 and Canadian $24.99. It is from Interweave Crochet. You can get it cheaper on Amazon. I don't think this would be a good choice of a book to get in digital format because you kind of want to keep your patterns. And this, all 18 patterns in this book are good patterns. Now, even on the Afghans that I said were my least favorite, that doesn't mean that I couldn't take part of that pattern, the motif or the edging or a part of it, say this much of it, and say, hey, that would go good in a scrap Afghan. Okay? So, I give 2 thumbs up and 2 big toes up for this book. I think it would be good whether you are a new crocheter. You could definitely work your way up from the granny squares and the hexagons into this. This here may look very difficult, but it's not. So I definitely recommend all the patterns in here for you. I give it 2 big thumbs up, and I think it's an excellent investment, and it would make a great addition to your crochet library. Okay, they didn't pay me to say that. They sent me this for review. Okay. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below. I will definitely answer them. And I will probably be 2 weeks in coming back with more of my crochet because that will give me more time than to say, look how much I did. So I am going to have a planner podcast portion coming out later today. But for now, this is the gojenn Yarny Stuff videocast. Thanks for joining me. And until I see you in 2 weeks, I wish you nothing but love and laughter.